All right, so your underlying energy is the Page of Pentacles. So for some of you guys could be starting something new, really, doing some tedious work right now. Some of you, this could be an offer of stability, perhaps an offer of work. Because I just see a King of Pentacles in this reading. You guys may also be contemplating, or not necessarily contemplating, but you're focusing on what has value. I think you're taking a look-see into the very details of what's going on, especially when it comes to your relationship. Now that this just this could have been like a long-term offer as well. Somebody could have asked for marriage for some of you. Some of you guys could have, somebody could have been asked to go ahead and move the relationship to something more serious. So this is a very serious sort of energy, but it's also very tangible. So I get this feeling that not only that is happening, but you're also looking at the details of what it is of value to you. And the reason because the Queen of Swords. Okay, somebody could have been you guys could have been straight up offered some sort of long-term relationship, or this is about you and what you want in a long-term relationship, or what do you feel is valuable in a relationship, what is your truth. So the Queen of Swords is you guys, like literally. So I like that. So let's go ahead and see what's going on. Your current situation here is the Five of Swords. The Five of Swords does indicate here that there could be some petty arguments back and forth. There is also a situation where there may be sacrifices that needed to be made, because the Five of Swords isn't just like, hey, be selfish, do this or this. There's also being careful about what you're selfish about. Is it worth being selfish about to cause to potentially cause a problem, or make sure that whatever you're wanting to do, you're not jeopardizing a lot of your own morals to do it. Okay, so it's very like one of those kind of energies. It's a very ruthless energy, and it means business, but you want to be very careful when it comes up. Okay, now for some of you guys, I feel like you guys may have had a moral disagreement. For some of you guys with some of your partners, you may feel like they there's certain things that you're accepting, or so that you don't accept, or something that you're not willing to compromise on, or something that you potentially do want to compromise on. Just be very careful with this energy, because the Five of Swords, like I said, it's a changing energy, and it's not bad, but you don't want to, like, if you're feeling like you really want something, just be careful that you're not forcing it in a very unhealthy way, not just for you, but for yourself, and, not just for you, but for the integrity of the relationship and your partner, okay? Not necessarily consider everybody's needs, but just make sure that what you're doing isn't compromising your relationship, because I feel like you guys do want to keep the relationship, but you want your stuff as well. You want what you want out of it. Now, in the goal here, you guys want the King of Pentacles, and this is somebody that is very rich. That can be rich, but rich in several different ways, and not just money. This is rich in love, rich in abundance in regards to, like, passion, right? They're rich in their personality. They are also very generous in the giving aspect. They're willing to help. They're very supportive. They're very reliable. So I feel like, as far as the King of Pentacles go, that you want to feel like you're with somebody that is rich in character, rich in who they are, rich in, yes, potentially have a nice, decent, basic bank account to show that they are stable in themselves and they can support themselves, but most importantly, that they are rich in their character and rich in who they are. They also are they can be a bit of workaholics. So I feel like too, you may just want somebody that you feel like grounds you, like they just hold you down, pretty much. Not necessarily hold you down, but they really like make sure that you feel at home and you feel safe. So I like this energy. The thing is keeping you from getting to the King of Pentacles, and this even could be you guys, which I don't typically read it that way. You guys could also be dealing with a Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, but potentially Taurus here. But I don't really like reading it that way, but this could be you guys too. You guys, maybe feeling like you guys have to do X, Y, and Z to get to a certain destination when you don't have to, right? But because you want to get to a place where you're more stable, you can feel more relaxed, you're comfortable, you know what you're doing, you're hardworking, and you can be able to be generous. Give back to some of it too. Right now, you feel like you kind of can't give back. There's not a lot of room. There's not a lot of space to give back right now. You're kind of focusing on where you need to be, where you want to be, and kind of doing the best that you can to get there. So I feel like for this is like, it's understandable, right? You kind of want something grounding and stable for you. That could be it too. But again, this thing that's keeping you from the King of Pentacles, whether this is a person, a partner, or trying to get to a certain period or spot in your relationship with someone, like feeling more committed or feeling like really committed to a person has a lot to do with judgment. There's a lot of change going on. There's a lot of things that's, you know, happening, but I also feel like there's not a lot of action being taken at this time. Like this, the judgment card comes up because there is a situation that's happening. That's pretty much almost like a test to see if you're willing to go ahead and jump. Not necessarily jump, but to cross that finish line, because you've, like, okay, with this whole situation here with judgment, you've gone through a whole mess of cycles. This is the 20th card in the deck, technically the 21st, but it's the 20th card. So you've been through several different cycles. You've been through several different situations and have overcome those. And you've through those passages, you have changed. You have not, you know, you've morphed into someone else. And this is completely allowing the transformation process by taking the action that is required to show that you are that you are new, that you are not the person that have been through all those 19 steps. Okay, so when I see the judgment card, there is some sort of call to action here, because it's called action, something that shows that you have changed, something that shows that you are no longer that, you know, that person back a long time ago, back when, you know, you were, you know, doing X, Y, and Z, right? You have changed dramatically, but it's a resistance to this change that is keeping this whole thing back. So that's what I feel like is going on. It could be you, it could be the relationship, but you guys, you know, you've been through a lot. And I feel like at this moment, this is a transformation process. So it's calling you to action, but it's, you know, you're finding it very difficult to shift, to do that. Let me just move this here. Okay, that's better. Actually, move that back. Okay, now, this is because of the Ace of Pentacles. I feel like for some of you guys have started something new with somebody. You started something and really, you know, agreed and would, you know, and put then, you know, decided to dedicate yourself to building a long-term relationship. Ace of Pentacles is a great example of this, right? It's a slow progress. Yes, it's a slow process. It's going to take a little bit before you can really start seeing the results of it. But this is about committing to this beginning and going ahead and doing the work necessary to bring it to life. Now, I do feel like with this Ace of Pentacles here, the reason why the judgment is coming up as a blockage is because of something that you committed to yourself, or something that you wanted to start, or something that you've started as getting you to the process, you know, getting you to, that's, you know, pretty much that's pushing you towards whatever manifestation you want, whatever that's getting you to a place that it feels more secure, that feels like you have the abundance that you're looking for, whether it is finances or it is being surrounded by love, you know, development of character, etc. Right? Because there's all the different types of abundances out there, not just finances. But it's just that call to action that's keeping you there. So for the Five of Swords, I feel like you may be hesitating on a certain action. You may be hesitating. Usually the Five of Swords is talking about change in thinking, change in communication, change in your moral standpoint. You want to be careful with this energy usually. So usually you would kind of go off and do whatever it is that you want to do just to get to where you want to be. But that's the part. It's, you know, judgments here. I feel like perhaps this energy here is not needed, and you're trying to figure out why this energy is even here in the first place. We're going to come back to this, okay? But the Knight of Swords is your advice in regards to getting to the King of Swords, or King of Pentacles, excuse me. King of Pentacles, like I said, could be a Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, or this could be you, right, wanting to be more stable. It's talking about fighting for your truth and going for it and just leading on with what your truth is. Kind of, you know, I feel like within that's similar with the Knight of Swords and the Five of Swords is that they don't back down from their truth. They don't say, you know what, let's just compromise. For some of you guys, I feel like it's saying that to have a compromising kind of thing. It's saying stand by your truth and fight for it. If there's something that you just don't want to budge on, you don't feel like you have to sacrifice that. But at the same time, there is a consequence of ultimatums, and there's consequences to having strong beliefs. Some people may not want to agree. Some people may not want to buckle. And then some people may just accept that, hey, all right, non-negotiable, something like that. And they move forward. They find a compromise. But That's the thing. I feel like right now it's saying don't compromise. With the Knight of Swords, it's saying don't compromise your truth. Don't compromise. Fight for what it is that you want. Stand by your truth. You may be sacrificing a lot right now, and I feel like that's probably why it's saying you have changed so much. You don't need to be sacrificing as much as you're doing now, Libra. Allow yourself to go ahead and be like, nah, I'm gonna be stubborn today. No, this is what I need. This is what's going on. This is what's going to make me feel happy. That's it. And that's why the card can be considered selfish, because you're looking out for yourself. So you got to be, that's the whole thing with this, this whole reading. I feel like you want to be, this offer of love or this long-term commitment is great if it has the, the qualities that you're looking for. If it ain't having the qualities that you're looking for, then that's where it comes to, calling to action. You may sacrifice a lot, but right now, I feel like you really should just go ahead and go for what it is that you feel is correct for you, what you feel is your truth, because no one else is going to look out for you except for you. You know what I'm saying? So excellent. In your heart, you feel committed. You have the Hermit here, so you feel like you're in this relationship. There's no doubt you are married to this person spiritually, if not physically. So, and it's not like if they're boyfriend or girlfriend, you're not looking to get married. It's not saying that you guys are like, oh my god, you guys are tied together. None like that. You are, but not in a sense that it's going to keep you there potentially for life. I don't know your situation, so this is a general reading. I can't get like that specific, but you are committed to making the relationship work. You are committed to yourself and making this relationship work. You are committed to the person that you're with in regards to making the relationship work. So this is great. So you feel very, very grounded right now. Very Taurian energy, a lot of Taurus energy coming up in here. But I feel like in your hopes and fears, you do want to see, see growth. You want to see prosperity come out of this relationship. I feel like you really see the potential for something great to happen in your relationship, but I feel like you don't want this the relationship to, you want the relationship to get there. You don't want anything to stop that process, I feel. Okay, I really feel like you want to see the growth. You want to be there for that. You don't want to just kind of be like, okay, what's going on? You don't want to feel like it was all for nothing, or that the dream that you had was actually way out of reach. Okay, I feel like that's the scary part. You have this dream, you're still building on it, it's still a work in progress, but you don't want that dream to kind of be like, not actually gonna happen. You want this to actually become something. You want it to be tangible. You want it to manifest in the tangible, and that's totally fair enough. So I feel like as long as you remain committed and stay firm on your truth, the star, it will manifest itself in the physical, but you have to believe that it's possible first. You know what I mean? So in your outcome, you guys have the Ten of Wands. The Ten of Wands does indicate here that the Ten of Wands indicates here that there is a lot of burdens, right? But there's nothing that you're not willing to carry, okay? Because the burdens that you're carrying are something that you feel very and highly passionate about. You've done a lot of work with them, you've put a lot of effort into them, and you're taking them home, right? It's the ending of that cycle to begin another. And it's not bad, right? It's never bad. But the one thing I will say about this is that the Ten of Pentacles can indicate, just feeling bogged down by everything, just kind of feeling like you're carrying the weight. The only thing here is it's still yours. It's still something that you have a lot of pride in. It's nothing that is necessarily like too much to something that you just hate, because if it was the case, you would have dropped these and you would have walked away like, nah, it's not me. But I feel like because this is yours and you're committed to what you're doing, the burden is almost like, it's like a baby, right? Babies are not burdens, but they have that feeling of kind of being overwhelming or just a lot to take on, but they're still your baby. It's still yours. It's still your child. So you don't feel like you want to give them up or anything like that, but it is okay. It's understandable to still feel bogged down from everything that you've been doing, especially when it comes to raising that baby. So it's something similar to that to me. Okay, when I see the Ten of Wands. So let me go ahead and pull your Wisdom of the Oracle. I kind of messed up the order a little bit. So the Wisdom of the Oracle goes first for the week. Okay, you guys have fates. Okay, I also accidentally grabbed into the card and was round and round, but I'm gonna just leave that here in the deck. Round and round pretty much talks about a situation happening over and over and over again until you learn the lesson. So there could be a situation where there's something that keeps happening over and over and over again, and you're not sure why. And that speaks of the Judgment card as well, like a situation that just doesn't die. It just doesn't die, and it's because there's something that you need to do to change the course of action, right? Because if it's a cycle that's happened several times, multiple times, what are you doing differently each of those times to prevent it from happening? And if there is a constant cycle, a constant method of madness, then it kind of does get a little annoying, and it does keep things from progressing any further. So I feel like that's why the Judgment card's coming up here. Actually doesn't need to happen to change the course of the cycle that you're going through. You've been through a lot. You've gone through a lot of situations with this relationship. You've grown so much within the relationship yourself. What do you need to do to make sure that you get to where you want to be? You know what I'm saying? Now I'm going to go ahead and pull for you guys the wisdom whispers of love. Also, the fates talk about situation happening on purpose, right, by the universe, to not necessarily to teach us a lesson, but there is a higher meaning for the reason or for the things that we do. There's a higher there's something big that happens to us, or happens for us when the fates come up, right? It's destiny. And the thing here is that everything that happens to us or that we do is something that we're meant to do in the moment to get us to certain aspects in our life, to reach us to our highest potential, right? Nothing is ever given to us that we cannot handle. Please remember that, guys. Because if it wasn't something that you can handle, it wouldn't have been given to you. So when fate comes up, the relationship is fated. The situation that you're in is fated, only so that you can become stronger, because there is something there that is seen in you to become stronger. So I feel like that's what fates comes up. So fates is like the situation is destined in a sense, like not necessarily you being with someone, but the situation itself, you growing, because this is a growth reading pretty much. And I know it's love, but this is growth in love, right? How much you've changed, taking the action and going for it. And then at the same time, round and round is saying like, hey, there's a sequence of stuff, a cycle that happens over and over again, but it's going to require you to do something different to break the cycle, to break the flow of the situation coming over, recycling itself. And here you guys have, wow, the union of hearts. There is a connection of love that defies explanation. That's the fates again. So you have a very fated connection with an individual, and that's why you're so committed. That's why you're not really ready to give up on the relationship. And that's totally understandable, right? You don't want to give up on something that feels good. It's totally acceptable. But at the same time, you don't want to just take whatever. You know what I mean? They may be the absolute love of your life, but you still deserve to be treated in the way you want. And you still deserve to have a certain aspect in the relationship, because you're involved in it. You're the one that's making it work. You're the one that's growing it. So, fight for your truth. Don't give up on that, okay? Sometimes there's some things you just can't compromise, and that's cool. And I feel like you know that already, and I'm just pretty much reiterating something that you already know. Libra, you're already doing you're already in the process of doing it. So I feel like with Judgment here, it's like you know what you need to do. You know what it is that's going to require you to push forward, to break the chain and break the cycle. You know that you're not interested in compromising, so don't, right? Because that's just the hard part, right? It's because we're Libras and we want to compromise anyway to make everybody feel harmonious, but at the same time we leave ourselves unharmonious, and we know this. So it's up to you guys whether you want to change or do something differently. It's up to you guys on how this, how the relationship and even yourself goes. All right, guys.